for Culpeper, this is part of a new initiative that we're working on. We've been working with Drew and his team at Civil War Trails for, goodness, a little over a year now, to kind of pull together some stories that haven't been told before, specifically women's history in the area. Cornelia is one of several that we're working on right now. We understand that there's a lot of Civil War history that has been told in the area, but not necessarily about the women's history portion of the Civil War and what that meant for us, and some notable females that came out of our community and that worked here, in the front lines and at the hospitals here.
Well, what's so great about this is a story, and we're seeing it more and more with these stories that haven't been told are now being told by communities.
Right, yeah. We part of our initiative, we're going to be launching a new brand later this year. I won't say too much because I'm not allowed to yet, but it will essentially be an umbrella brand that will house stories about the women's history in the area, African American history in the area. There's a lot of German history here that people don't necessarily know about. So this brand will hopefully let these stories live in one place where people who love history, and not just Civil War history, but just histories about certain areas, indigenous people stories and things like that, will be developing over the next few years to tie into these stories too. It's important, I think, for us to tell some of those stories that haven't been told before, and people that love history, they're interested in those things.
Oh, and they are, and to see something like this, to find, kind of the back roads of Culpeper, to find some of these stories just makes history that much more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, with something like a Civil War's Trail, I mean, anybody who has heard of it, you've seen the signs a million times. I'm sure you've passed them while you're driving and never really thought twice about them. But if you really look into it, the connectivity of the trail through the East Coast is pretty incredible. So if you wanted to make a few stops along the way during, maybe you're doing a spring break road trip, and history might be something that, is of interest while you're traveling, this gives you a good place to start to hear some of those stories that you may not have even known that they were there otherwise.
And I would think for tourism, for Culpeper, this is just opens up another avenue to bring people to the county.
Absolutely. I think it's definitely one of those things that some people, it will drive them here. If they are Civil War enthusiasts, if there are people that are, already traveling to see these Civil War trail sites, it will just be something that they seek out and we can be a part of. We have, I couldn't even tell you, Drew will know how many sites we've got throughout the county and town already. So adding to those stories, I think, is just a reason to give those people, reason to come back. So if they've been here before, they've heard some stories already, they know that this is evolving and we're constantly adding to their trail. And then I think that for people that are visiting the area, maybe they're visiting family or relatives, maybe they're here looking at genealogy or history for their families, it will give them an additional activity or something that will enrich their experience while they're here, for sure.
Now this is exciting. This is really exciting stuff.
Yeah, we are really excited. This one in particular has given us an opportunity to partner with a local brewery. This story was interesting because of the component of the medicinal purposes. Cornelia was using yeast and hops in some of her medicinal experiments and things during the Civil War. So we partnered with Old Trade Brewery right here in Brandy Station. They're right around the corner. It really gave us an opportunity to get them involved. They were celebrating Women's History Month already, and it just made for such a great story. They were excited to be a part of it, excited to tell that story too, and just bring an additional, kind of fun component to that story, along with the Civil War Trail sign we're having installed today.